So first question, just starting off, what are your current thoughts about the school funding formula that's going on right now?
Well, I think the most important issue in the state of Illinois is how we revive our economy. We have a shrinking economy and no plan to turn things around. The most important solution that's ever been devised in the United States is the power of education. If we give the world highly educated young people, the world will give us its jobs. And we're not doing that today in Illinois. But if we do, we'll have the same outcomes that they have in places like Silicon Valley or Austin, Texas, or Research Triangle, North Carolina. We can do for ourselves what they've done in other parts of the country.
And just kind of looking at, the field right now as well as the campaign that's going to be going on this year, what is your strategy for competing against all of these other politicians?
There's an incredible amount of money flowing into this election. And one of the Democratic primary opponents has put in $42 million. I think that gives us in the state of Illinois a really great opportunity, an opportunity to send a message across this state, around the United States, and to democracies all over the world that, well, a great idea matters more than a big wallet, that our vote matters more than their check. And if we stand up for ourselves in this election, I think we move democracy forward around the world.
Absolutely. And you were talking about the money that's coming into this election. We've seen a new campaign ad recently from this. Are we going to see one coming from you guys?
Sure. I mean, we were up on television for much of the fall, and there's been a wave of negative advertising, and we'd hope to bypass that in this election, but it's where I guess the election's going to, and I hope it'll that the folks will stop running those negative ads so that we can have a positive vision of what the future of the state should look like.
I was going to say, you guys had a debate actually recently, and how do you feel that went overall?
I like the debate. I think it's really helpful to get people engaged in what's going on in this election. For too many people that they haven't realized that in just 60 days or so we're going to have an election for the governor of the state of Illinois, and that debate puts a lot of energy back in the market, let people know that their voice really matters.
And one of the biggest topics that came up after that debate was you guys were asked to say something positive about the other candidates. At the time, when they asked you about Pritzker, you didn't have anything to say. You later came out and said that you admire his work for early childhood education. What was the change of heart on that?
Well, I'd say this. The future of the state of Illinois, I think, hangs in the balance. And I'm a Democrat. I believe that government can play a positive role in people's lives. But I need every Democrat to turn out to vote. I need every independent to vote, every progressive Republican. And they're never going to vote for a party that's become, well, the epicenter of the pay-to-play system in the United States. And J.B. Pritzker's emerged as like the poster child for that pay-to-play system. Those tapes with him trying to buy an appointment to the state treasurer's office from Rod Blagojevich, his use of money to buy support in this election, that's not what Americans want. And I think it puts the future of our state at risk because it almost guarantees that Governor Rauner will be reelected.
And you were talking about, the future of the state as well as the future of the country. One of the biggest topics in the country right now is gun control. Can you kind of talk about a little bit about how that's come to the forefront of this campaign?
Sure. We've released a comprehensive anti-violence program for the entire state as part of the campaign. We lay out 8 critical steps. One of the things that we need to look at is this notion that, well, opportunity is the enemy of violence, and economic oppression is its partner in crime. If we don't give people choice, if we force them to do nothing but commit crimes of survival, then it's really hard to reduce the amount of violence in our state. And when we undereducate people so dramatically, when we underfund their schools, we really leave them very little choice. But there's a lot we can do. We can license our gun dealers, and then we can bring them together as a force against the illegal and open flow of guns from places like Indiana and Kentucky. Well, they shouldn't be taking away sales in Illinois, and if we rally the folks who are here, I think that we can make great steps moving forward.
And another big topic that's, again, not even just in the state, but within the country itself, has been the idea of legalizing cannabis. Can you talk a little bit more about your stance on that?
Sure. I think we'll legalize cannabis in Illinois, and I think immediately we should decriminalize possession, and we should make doctors free to prescribe whatever they think is helpful to their patient. I think the process really matters, though, and how we go about legalizing it. I want to take that process out of the hands of corporate lobbyists and put it in the hands of an honest broker, like the University of Illinois. I talked to Governor Hickenlooper in Colorado about what they did. And when they legalized marijuana in their state, well, they didn't regulate, let's say, the fact that edibles were shaped like little children's candy, and little kids ended up being admitted to the Children's Hospital in Denver. They didn't require retailers to sell in packaging that was both tamper-proof and, well, child-proof. So little kids, once again, ended up at the Children's Hospital in Denver. And they haven't wrestled with this issue of THC content. Today, for the first time in human history, you can overdose from marijuana. And that's never been possible, but now it is, and we need to understand what sort of limits and tolerances we want. I think those decisions should be made by, and in the best interest of the people of Illinois, by somebody like the University of Illinois. And they should be charged with coming forth with a recommendation, and I would accept whatever they recommend.
And you're talking about, putting some of the ideas back into the hands of the people, and one of the ideas that the people have right now is healthcare and how that can benefit them, or in some instances, how it can harm them. Under your leadership, how would healthcare be treated? Well,
first and foremost is a right. And I believe that that's part of human dignity, and that's the most important thing that we can organize our thinking around. I think one of the great challenges about providing universal health care and a single-payer solution, which I believe that we need to move towards, is the incredible power of the insurance lobby in the state of Illinois. I think there's only one group that's more powerful, only one group that can overwhelm their resistance, and that's the largest employers in the state. And I would work with them, not to collude, but to allow them to work together to create pools that will eventually emerge as a single-payer system to allow them to drive down costs for prescription drugs and hospital care and bring the best thinking so we can move dollars out of the system and make them available to insure everybody in our state.
And, as this campaign is going on, a lot of people are asking, what separates each candidate from the other? Comparing you to the current governor, Governor Rauner, what separates the two of you other than the party lines?
Well, Governor Rauner has thrown 1 million people out of government programs, which proves that he's heartless. He went 2 years without a budget, which means he's not capable. And I think we'll start with those two issues. I think he's heartless and not capable. And we need somebody who's proven that they have the heart and the competence to move forward. I've run one of the great economic engines of the state of Illinois, the Merchandise Mart in Chicago, where more companies moved to our state to open an office for the first time than any other location in the state. I've run one of the largest charities in the state, the Greater Chicago Food Depository, the nation's largest food bank. I've run the Convention Bureau, chosen by 2,000 other members to become the chairman of that organization. So I know how to promote our state. And I was the chairman of the University of Illinois. And that has a $5 billion a year budget. So I know how to run large, complicated organizations. I think the combination of those experiences and my political background, experience in lots of campaigns and with politicians, gives me a leg up as I enter Springfield.
I was going to say political background. You guys obviously have a family political background, but this is the first elective office you're running for, correct?
Sure. But in Illinois, I chaired the campaign against Rod Blagojevich by Paul Vallis. I chaired the transition committee for the first African American to become head of the Cook County Board. I was involved in the sustainability program for the city of Chicago. I chaired the sustainability program for Cook County. I've been involved with any number of campaigns here and have a political infrastructure that allows me to understand the state from its many different vantage points.
And, we were talking about the difference between you and the current governor, Governor Rauner, going into party lines, though. What would you say separates you from J.B. Pritzker?
I'd say J.B.'s really brought in to protect the status quo. He's been brought in by Mike Madigan to protect a system that allows the speaker to act as the party chair and pick the head of the Cook County party, who then slated himself as assessor. And now we have the speaker as the largest property tax appeals lawyer in the state, appealing assessments to Joe Barrios, who he chose for that job. And I think what they're doing is not illegal, but I think what they're doing should be illegal. I don't support Joe Barrios's re-election. I oppose him. And I think those issues separate me and JB. I think Pritzker is there to protect the status quo, and a party that is using its power to protect a few people who are making money off of a system that's damning our children to a life of economic servitude. And I think that's wrong.
And looking forward to the future, to the election and to the campaign, what do you think is the biggest hurdle you will face?
Well, I think there's an awful lot of money in this race, but as people become fully informed, they understand who the candidates are. Well, they come my way, and that's what's happening in this part of the campaign, the last 60 days, and it's an exciting time for me and everybody on the Kennedy for Illinois team.
And just finishing up, I know we've covered a large range of topics, but is there anything else that you think is important for the people who are going to be watching this, or even just anyone in Illinois that we did not cover?
Well, I'd say that the economic and jobs plan that our campaign has released is really focused on places like Springfield, which has great infrastructure that we can build on. If you look at the success of great economies around the United States, they're built around education and access to health care and government. And we can reinvest in places like University of Illinois at Springfield and create an economic engine that's capable of propelling the state to great outcomes. And we've been stealing the money from our universities. We've been robbing our colleges of proper funding. And we have the largest outmigration of college freshmen, net outmigration of college freshmen of any state in America. That's damning for our economy. It doesn't have to be like this.
And just finishing up, is there anything else that we did not cover that you believe is important?
I think that's pretty good.
All right, well, we are good to go. So
thank you.